Guys, welcome back to Ace Paints. Today we're going to be doing insignia again. This time she is black metallic, and as you can see there's been a slight repair done on this lower quarter panel and bumper area. We have it all taped off and ready to go, so without further ado, here we go. So when I'm doing a panel like this, I actually like to start with edges in behind you're not going to see, try and get coverage first. I'm going to focus mainly on just getting this primered area covered with a couple of coats of paint first before we start worrying about blending out our metallic. So as you can see, that is the first coat of base on, and like I say, that's just that general primered area covered. You can still sort of see the outline of the primer and stuff. Don't worry, that's only your first coat. We'll let this dry out and we'll get a second coat on it. So guys, that is the first coat. As you can see, well dried off. We're going to add another coat. Now we're going to just take this one slightly further, probably in around this general area here, and we don't want to take it up too far up to our body line. We want to try and keep it in this sort of area here, so we'll probably aim to finish up around the top of the primer line. The wee bit of overspray will allow that to blend in. This side we'll just flick it out a wee bit further to allow the metallic to drop out, and I will give you a wee update when we get the second coat on. So guys, as you can see, that's now the second coat, blended out around this general area here, and like I said, up to about the primer line here, and the overspray has allowed that to blend slightly without going up too close to this no edge tape. And like I say, flicked it out a wee bit more onto the quarter, and that's us ready for our third wet coat. There we have it guys, that is your final wet coat on. So no further than about here. That gives us a wee bit of an area to flick away our colour. Again, up here we've left a little bit of an area for our drop coat, and over here we're going to be drop coating down the dog leg of the panel. So we'll let this all flash off, and once it's dried out we'll check back into the drop coat. And that guys is our control coat finished. So we finished about here, flicking her out, sorry, about there, brought her on up and flicked right down the dog leg just to get rid of. There was a few light wee chips and scores, so that shouldn't really affect the colour. We'll let all this flash off, get our clear coat mixed up and our gun cleaned out, and we'll be ready for the next stage. You can see guys, that is our control coat all dried out. So what we're going to start with now that we're on to our clear coat, we're going to start at the bottom of the dog leg and work our way up around the panel. We're going to bring it down this way, and we're going to flick the clear coat around this sort of area here with our first coat. Now the reason I have this taped this way is so that when we put our first coat on, any overspray from the clear coat will not continue on around past this area where we want to be doing our blow in. So we have the masking sheet there. Like I say, we'll blend our first coat of clear in around here, and then we'll pull the tape back before a second coat, and I'll show you what to do from there for your fade-ins. So there we are guys, that is the first coat of clear on, and as you can see, it's a wee bit hazy, not quite as shiny, just here on the corner, like I said, and we have the whole quarter panel all nice and wet, except right up next to the tape line, where as you can see it's a wee bit dry and hazy. The only reason being for that is when I'm passing along the first coat, I don't like to go too heavy because it builds up a very, very heavy edge, which is a lot harder to get away whenever it comes to the buffing stage. So that's always something to bear in mind guys, whenever you're coming into fine line tapes and things like that, is the heavier you make the edge, the heavier it's going to lie down. So always try and get one coat on it. If needs be, go for two, but always try with one because it makes it a little bit easier to polish away as well. So what we'll do now is we'll trim this masking sheet back and we'll get it ready for a second coat. So as you can see guys, we have now pulled our tape back, and you can actually see an ever so slight line just here where the masking sheet was, and this is exactly the reason why I wanted to do this. Now any overspray from the first coat is all on this side, anything over this side is our original paintwork, so this is all nice and smooth and flat, no stickiness. And that is what we want for our second coat, because once we bring our second coat on round, we want to be bringing it to about here. Now this allows us to let a little bit of overspray overlap, and when we put our fade out blender on that, that will all blend down into the clear coat below, and that will give us a desired blend in. So as you can see, this is where we have our little blow in ready. We have some spot blender by Nexa, one of the best aerosols I've probably used. So what you want to do here, guys, is basically just make sure you're spraying okay, and just a couple of little passes over. Let that dry out. Now that will evaporate with the heat, so it'll only take maybe a minute, if even. Just check it. You should see your clear coat starting to go hazy and blend in. You won't see quite as heavy of a line as well, so that's another couple of points to look at, but I will show you what we should see when it is dried. So guys, now that our blender has dried, you can see when you get down and look at it, or you can't really see, sorry, where your heavy line was. If that is all faded out quite nicely, and as you're looking at it you're going, whereabouts is my blow-in, that's when you know you've done it right. So that's it, ready for the bake now. What we'll do first is pull off any of the fine line tape we can get at easily, such as along the quarter panel line here, to stop it being a heavy edge once it's baked, and that's us ready to go.